What if Las Vegas isn't broke because of bad luck, bad timing, or the economy, but by design? That's the shocking question now being asked as insiders reveal a secret plan hidden beneath the glitter of the Las Vegas Strip. On the outside, the city still glows with neon lights, casinos, and billion-dollar shows. But behind the curtain, something far darker is unfolding. For decades, Vegas has been sold as the ultimate symbol of American wealth and excess. In 2019, the city welcomed over 42 million visitors. But by 2025, workers are confessing that the Strip feels hollow empty. Tables vanish, tips, and entire hotel floors shut down. The official story blames economic slowdown, inflation, and shifting tourism. Yet now leaked whispers suggest something else. This collapse may not be an accident at all. According to those closest to the Strip, the very people who run Vegas casinos and back its projects, powerful investors and developers, might be deliberately engineering the city's decline. Why? To wipe away massive debts, to seize prime land for pennies on the dollar, and to force new billions in bailout money from Wall Street. In this video, we'll uncover the leaked plan that exposes how the so-called collapse of Vegas may have been scripted all along. And what you're about to hear could change how you see America's most famous city forever. On the surface, Las Vegas looks like it's struggling, but appearances can be deceiving. The official story paints a picture of a city knocked down by pandemic shutdowns, inflation, and shifting tourism trends. Newspapers talk about fewer international visitors, about Chinese tourists not returning in full force, and about the impact of rising costs in 2024 and 2025. To the average American, it sounds like Vegas simply fell victim to economic bad luck. But what if that's just the cover story? The illusion of collapse is everywhere. Workers whisper about casinos that report high occupancy, while secretly closing off entire floors of rooms. Bars and restaurants claim booming weekends, but cut weekday hours to save money. Showrooms once packed every night now run at half capacity. Yet official press releases still brag about record crowds. To a tourist who only comes for 2 nights in July, the Strip still looks alive. But the workers know better. The downturn is real. The mystery is whether it's accidental or intentional. The city still invests in billion-dollar attractions, which makes the idea of being broke even stranger. If Vegas is truly collapsing, why did developers push forward with the $2.3 billion MSG Sphere opening in 2023 or continue funding mega resorts like Resorts World, which cost over $4 billion? Why are casino bosses greenlighting expansions when their own workers are being told there's no money for raises, hours, or even stable jobs? Something doesn't add up. Even traffic on the Strip feels staged. Sections are roped off, funneling visitors into smaller areas to give the illusion of larger crowds. Casinos dim lights in unused spaces while dealers stand at empty tables just to make the gaming floors look alive. One Strip worker described it perfectly. It's like we're acting in a play. We pretend it's booming, but we know the seats are empty. And yet the illusion continues to fool millions. Tourists snap photos of the Bellagio fountains, gamble on $25 blackjack tables, and tell themselves Vegas is the same as always. But behind the curtain, the numbers don't lie. Gaming revenue has stagnated since 2019, convention attendance is still down, and Strip workers report earning half the tips they used to. The official narrative calls this a slump. The leaked whispers call it a setup. This is where the story turns from strange to suspicious. If the city is broke, it's only broke in the ways that hurt the workers and the public. The bosses still collect paychecks. The investors still fund mega projects. The politicians still brag about jobs created even when those jobs are seasonal or short-lived. To outsiders, the Strip looks like it's crumbling by accident. But insiders insist the collapse feels scripted, a stage-managed downturn meant to hide something bigger. The illusion of collapse raises the most important question yet. Who benefits from a Vegas that looks broke even if it isn't? And the answer, as the leaked plan suggests, may shock you. The illusion of collapse may fool the tourists, but it doesn't fool the workers who keep the Las Vegas Strip alive. Their voices shared in quiet conversations and leaked interviews reveal a disturbing pattern. The city's struggles don't feel natural. They feel engineered. Take the dealers, for instance. In the 2010s, a blackjack dealer could earn $400 to $600 in tips and a strong night. By 2025, many admit they're leaving with less than $120 even on weekends. The players aren't gone, one dealer said. They're just spending less, and management doesn't seem worried. It's like they want us to believe this is normal. Bartenders echo the same frustration. A bartender at a well-known strip bar confessed, "I used to clear $500 on a Saturday shift. Now it's closer to $150 if I'm lucky." But here's the weird part. The bar still stocks. Premium liquor still pays for live DJs, still spends money like nothing's wrong. So if they're broke, where's all this cash coming from? Servers in high-end restaurants tell stories of dining rooms half empty, even as management insists everything is fine. One server recalled being ordered to rearrange tables so the room looked fuller when executives visited. "They told us keep the lights low, spread out the guests, and make it feel packed." But we all knew the truth. Half the reservations were canceled. Even housekeepers see the contradiction. Entire hotel wings remain closed, but workers are told to prepare them at a moment's notice for future crowds. A housekeeper with more than 20 years in Vegas whispered, "They say occupancy is at 80 or 90%, but I'm cleaning fewer rooms than ever." It doesn't add up. The whispers go further. Taxi drivers and Uber drivers admit they spent hours waiting for rides even during supposed peak weekends. A driver who's worked in Vegas since 2008 said, "I've never seen it like this." They tell the news that conventions are back, that visitor numbers are strong. "But my car meter doesn't lie. I'm making half of what I made 10 years ago." The workers also speak of shifts being cut. A cocktail waitress who once worked 5 nights a week now gets only 3, sometimes even 2. Overtime, which was once a staple of Vegas life, has all but disappeared, and yet management insists the city is booming. For workers, the message is clear play, along with the illusion or risk losing what little you still have. There's also a strange pressure to stay silent. Workers report being told not to complain about tips, hours, or empty floors in public. One security guard recalled a staff meeting where management said Vegas is strong. Don't spread negativity. Another worker admitted, "They don't want us talking to the media, not even to each other sometimes. It feels like we're guarding a secret." That secret, according to many, is that the collapse isn't just happening, it's being controlled. Some employees suspect the casinos are deliberately limiting hours, restricting access to hotel floors, and staging crowds to create a narrative of decline. Why? To make the strip look broke just enough to justify new investments, bailouts, or development deals. The workers don't use the word conspiracy. They don't have to. Their daily lives are evidence enough. A bartender summed it up best. "It's like they're bleeding us on purpose, cutting our pay, cutting our hours while pretending everything is fine." And the scariest part, nobody upstairs seems worried. It's almost like this was the plan all along. These whispers from inside the strip form a chilling chorus. They're not random complaints or seasonal gripes. They're patterns of empty spaces, cut hours, and staged appearances. Patterns that suggest Las Vegas isn't broke by accident. Something bigger is in motion, and the workers are the first to feel its weight. The question now is simple. If the workers are right, what exactly is the secret plan behind the illusion? And why are the people at the top so desperate to keep it hidden? The whispers of workers and the staged illusions all point toward one unsettling reality. Las Vegas may not be broke by accident at all. According to leaked reports, insider testimony, and financial records quietly circulating among analysts, the collapse of the Strip might be part of a deliberate secret plan. The logic is simple but ruthless. Over the past 2 decades, Vegas casinos have accumulated staggering debt. The construction of mega resorts like Resorts World, $4.3 billion, opened 2021, and the MSG Sphere, $2.3 billion, opened 2023, left balance sheets heavy with obligations. During the pandemic years of 2020-2021, many of these debts were refinanced at record low interest rates. But by 2024 and 2025, as rates spiked, those debts became crushing burdens. The accidental collapse of Vegas conveniently allows casino bosses and investors to restructure those debts or even erase them without admitting failure. Here's how the plan allegedly works: by letting the city appear broke. Investors can pressure Wall Street and lenders into writing off billions in obligations. At the same time, land and older properties become undervalued. Developers swoop in, buying prime pieces of the strip at fractions of their real worth. Workers suffer, yes, but the elites stand to profit enormously. Insiders describe tactics designed to accelerate the illusion. Some casinos reportedly shut down profitable sections of gaming floors, not because they had to, but to make revenue look weaker on paper. Hotel operators intentionally underbook, reporting declining demand, while privately reserving capacity for conventions and high-paying guests. These moves feed the narrative of collapse, giving cover for investors to argue that Vegas desperately needs new injections of capital. The leaked documents also suggest a second motive clearing the way for new mega projects. Stadiums, arenas, and futuristic entertainment venues are already being planned. By letting the old system look broken, developers can justify demolishing aging resorts and replacing them with billion-dollar complexes funded by public subsidies. The people footing the bill won't be the casino bosses, it'll be the taxpayers of Nevada and ultimately the American public. There's precedent for this strategy. In Atlantic City, casinos were allowed to sink in the 1990s, paving the way for selective bailouts, redevelopment, and cheap acquisitions by powerful investors. Insiders now warn that the same playbook is being used in Vegas. Let the workers take the hit. Let the public believe the city is broke, then quietly rebuild on new terms that favor the elite. Even the timing seems suspicious. Why did city leaders greenlight massive investments in sports and entertainment like the NFL Raiders Allegiant Stadium $1.9 billion, or the Formula One Grand Prix hosted in 2023, at the very moment workers were seeing hours cut and tips vanish? For critics, the answer is obvious. The collapse narrative clears space for new industries, while the suffering of workers is treated as collateral damage. Strip workers have their own theories. One bartender put it bluntly, "They're starving us, so we'll leave. Once enough of us are gone, they'll bring in cheaper labor and start fresh with new projects. They don't care about the people who built this city." A dealer added, "It's all a reset. They pretend Vegas is broke so they can reset the game and they'll still end up on top." The most disturbing claim is that politicians are in on it. Local officials continue to promote Vegas as a booming city, while quietly approving deals that benefit developers. The leaked reports suggest that lobbying money from casino executives has influenced state lawmakers to support taxpayer-funded rescue packages. In other words, the Strip's pain might be the excuse needed to unlock billions in public subsidies. If true, this isn't just mismanagement. It's a deliberate strategy to let Las Vegas collapse on paper while setting the stage for its reinvention. The question is no longer whether Vegas is broke, it's whether the collapse itself was scripted from the beginning. And if this secret plan really exists, one question hangs in the air: who, at the top, signed off on sacrificing the city's workers and its image for the sake of profit? If the Las Vegas Strip is being allowed to collapse on purpose, then someone has to benefit. And according to insiders, it's not the dealers, the bartenders, or the families who have built their lives around the city. It's the people at the top, the investors, developers, and politicians who stand to gain the most from this orchestrated downturn. First, the investors. Many of the mega casinos are drowning in debt with obligations that stretch into the billions. A collapse narrative gives them leverage. They can walk into negotiations with Wall Street banks and argue that the Strip is unsustainable without relief. That often translates into debt forgiveness, restructuring, or favorable refinancing deals that wipe out losses for the investors while keeping the workers' wages frozen. One financial analyst described it bluntly: when Vegas looks broke, the little guy suffers. The big guys get bailed out. Second, the developers. A downturn devalues land and property. Prime locations along the Strip plots that might sell for $500 million during boom times suddenly become available for half that price. Developers with cash reserves or political connections swoop in, buying up resorts or land on the cheap. Once the illusion of collapse has served its purpose, they flip the properties into shiny new projects, arenas, stadiums, luxury hotels. The cycle repeats, but with new players at the table. Workers who were pushed out rarely get invited back. Third, the politicians. Local and state officials are quick to use crisis as an opportunity. A broke Vegas allows them to push for new taxpayer-funded projects under the guise of revitalization. When Allegiant Stadium was built at a cost of $1.9 billion, nearly half of that came from public funds. Similar subsidies are now being discussed for future Strip expansions, with taxpayers footing the bill, while casino bosses and developers collect the profits. For politicians, the optics are perfect. They can claim they saved Vegas while quietly delivering favors to donors. Meanwhile, the workers are left behind. As hours are cut and tips vanish, they're forced to leave the city, creating a labor vacuum. That vacuum benefits employers in the long run. With veteran staff gone, casinos can hire new workers at lower wages. One cocktail waitress who worked the Strip since 2005 admitted, "It feels like they want us gone. They starve us until we quit. Then they'll replace us with people willing to work for less." Even outside industries profit. Real estate speculators buy foreclosed homes from workers who can't keep up with rent or mortgage payments. Loan companies thrive as desperate residents take out high-interest credit just to survive. And tech companies see opportunity pushing automated bartenders, self-check-in kiosks, and robot cleaners to replace human labor under the banner of cost savings. Every layer of the collapse seems designed to benefit someone, just not the people who actually built the city. The winners in this scheme don't just collect money, they also gain power. Developers get control of more land, investors strengthen their hold on the Strip, and politicians secure campaign donations and headlines. A city once fueled by the dreams of ordinary Americans becomes little more than a chessboard for billionaires. So who benefits from the collapse? Not the tourists who face higher prices masked as resort fees. Not the workers who face shrinking paychecks and lost benefits. Not the community which deals with rising crime, unstable schools, and disappearing healthcare coverage. The beneficiaries are the same elite class that has always controlled Vegas, only now they're rewriting the rules to squeeze even more from the system. And that's the brutal truth hidden behind the glitter. The collapse of Vegas isn't just a tragedy, it's an opportunity. The question is, an opportunity for whom and at what cost to the rest of America? The hidden collapse of Las Vegas isn't just a local scandal, it's a warning sign for the entire country. What happens on the Strip rarely stays there. The same forces shaping this orchestrated downturn could easily spread, affecting American finance, politics, and culture. The question every American should ask is simple: if Vegas can be scripted to fail, what city is next? Economically, the fallout could be massive. The Strip generates more than $60 billion annually through gaming, tourism, and conventions. If that stream dries up or becomes manipulated for investor gains, the shock will ripple through Wall Street. Pension funds, retirement accounts, and investment portfolios across the nation are tied to casino stocks and hospitality bonds. A manufactured crisis in Vegas could destabilize far more than Nevada. It could drag down parts of the national economy. It wouldn't be the first time. The 2008 housing collapse started in places like Nevada before spreading across the globe. What if history is repeating itself, this time with casinos and entertainment instead of real estate? Politically, the consequences are equally dangerous. If the collapse narrative allows developers and executives to demand taxpayer bailouts, then ordinary Americans may soon find themselves paying for the Strip's debts. We saw this in 2009 when taxpayers covered billions for Wall Street banks. If politicians quietly funnel money into Vegas under the guise of rescue packages, then workers in Ohio, Texas, or Florida may end up subsidizing billion-dollar resorts they'll never visit. One question lingers: why should America's middle class pay for mistakes planned or not made on the Strip? Culturally, the damage could be even deeper. Las Vegas has always symbolized the American dream, a place where anyone could strike it rich, where excess and ambition met in neon light. If workers' testimonies are true, that symbol is being corrupted. Instead of representing opportunity, Vegas becomes a monument to manipulation, a reminder that the game is always rigged for those at the top. The fallout could erode public faith in not just Vegas, but in the broader myth of American opportunity. There's also the danger of imitation. If the Vegas playbook works, if elites can script a collapse, wipe out debts, secure subsidies, and rebuild at the expense of workers, then what's to stop them from using the same strategy in other industries? Could we see planned collapses in airlines, tech companies, or real estate markets across the country? When workers describe the Strip as a giant stage set, they may be describing America's future. The social consequences are already unfolding. As workers flee Nevada in a silent exodus, communities weaken. Schools face instability, healthcare becomes harder to access, and crime rates climb. The very idea of community in Vegas is eroding, replaced by transient labor and hollow promises. If this trend spreads to other American cities, the result could be a nation where entire communities are disposable pawns in financial games played far above their heads. Perhaps the most haunting consequence is psychological. Vegas has always been more than a city, it's been a dream factory. Millions of Americans came to believe in its promise of sudden fortune, a promise that reflected the wider belief in upward mobility. If the Strip collapses by design, that dream shatters. And when dreams shatter, anger and distrust take their place. The collapse of Las Vegas by accident would be bad enough. But if the Strip's downfall is scripted, engineered by investors, enabled by politicians, and hidden from the public, then the consequences stretch far beyond Nevada. It signals a country where appearances are staged, where decline is weaponized, and where ordinary workers are sacrificed to protect the powerful. So ask yourself if Vegas America's playground is being deliberately broken. What does that mean for the rest of the nation? And more importantly, what comes after the lights finally go out on the Strip? The story of Las Vegas is no longer just about neon lights, blackjack tables, and billion-dollar shows. It's about power control and the deliberate choices that shape the lives of ordinary workers and the future of an entire city. If the Strip is collapsing, the evidence suggests it isn't by accident, it's part of a plan. The voices of the dealers, bartenders, servers, and housekeepers have revealed the cracks. The leaked whispers point to a strategy where debts are erased, land is seized, and taxpayers are forced to foot the bill. For the workers, it means fewer hours, shrinking tips, and families pushed out of their homes. For the elites, it means profit power and the chance to rebuild Vegas on their terms. This is the real danger if Vegas can be scripted to look broke while billion-dollar projects keep rising. Then what other industries might follow the same playbook? Could we see deliberate collapses in housing, airlines, or tech, all disguised as accidents while workers pay the price? The Strip has always been a stage, but now the entire city feels like a performance with the rest of America watching from the audience. The illusion may still hold for tourists snapping photos in 2025, but the workers know the truth. Vegas isn't broke by mistake, it's broke by design. And here's the final question. When the curtain falls on this secret plan, will Vegas rise again as the city of dreams, or will it stand as the ultimate proof that in America, the house always wins?